Mexico has quite recently marked an unlimited free pass to pay for President Trump's huge, excellent outskirt divider, regardless of whether they get a kick out of the chance to let it be known or not. In a minute-blowing move, Trump sold the arrangement to the Mexican government as the Joint States-Mexico Trade Agreement. NAReport.me reports. The final product is the same. $25 billion is just a small amount of what is going to surge northward over the fringe in view of the demolition of NAFTA. They should begin stacking beds of pesos for shipment. President Trump never thought for a brief moment that the Mexican government would influence a solitary irregularity to whole installment unequivocally for the divider. As Daily Republic put it, Mexico will never slice a check to the U.S. Treasury. Yet President Donald Trump is focusing in on an arrangement with the goal that the president can contend America's southern neighbor will without a doubt finance the outskirt divider. He didn't need to assess settlements or undermine a VAT charge to do it. That intense arrangement proved to be fruitful this week. By and by, President Trump did what his forerunners called unimaginable, and influenced it to look simple. Since he gruffly told everybody included precisely what he would do, at that point did it, U.S. specialists, carmakers, makers, and particularly citizens will profit, Wayne Allen Root reports for Town Hall. Trump did it. He won. We as a whole won, Root proclaims. He ensures the exchange bargain simply marked will spare us many billions, maybe several billions of dollars throughout the following decade. Even developing the Cadillac model of the divider would come in under $25 billion. A small detail contrasted with what is in store for our businesses. By and by, he states, Trump achieved what foundation government officials of the two gatherings said should never be possible. You can check off another battle guarantee kept, as well. He has since a long time ago faulted the 24-year-old, NAFTA, exchange settlement for devastating the U.S. fabricating industry and the loss of thousands of production line employments. Stock in the Kansas City Southern Railroad bounced to a 3.5-year high on news of the arrangement's acknowledgement, MarketWatch reports. They redesigned the railroad administrator since the current week's exchange managed Mexico evacuated the massive stress, by expelling a noteworthy obstacle for KSU speculators, advertise expert Jason Seidel of Cowen & Company exhorted. The organization gets almost a large portion of its income from Mexico. Steel is going to make a major rebound as a result of the arrangement as well. S&P Global Platts reported Wednesday that Nucor has increased to assemble another arousing plant in Focal, Mexico as a component of a 50-50 joint venture with Japan's JFE. The organization's CEO, John Ferriola, concurs with the Trump organization that NAFTA should have been refreshed, particularly guidelines of birthplace stipulations in the present ascension. In Salt Lake City, Utah, Derek Miller is the president and CEO of the Salt Lake Chamber of Commerce. He's persuaded the arrangement will bring consistency and dependability to neighborhood makers. Fares from Utah to Mexico have developed by more than 300% over the most recent 10 years, Miller states. An exchange concurrence with Mexico plots the guidelines of the amusement so Utah organizations can get in the diversion and win. He trusts Canada will take the insight and strike a comparable deal. Utah does much more business with Canada than they do Mexico. Indeed, even left-inclining nonconformists have something to be upbeat about. The new agreement, Liberal Vox reports, incorporates a few work rules intended to profit laborers on the two sides of the outskirt. Vox likewise notes American auto organizations that gather their autos in Mexico would likewise need to utilize more U.S.-made auto parts to maintain a strategic distance from levees, which would encourage U.S. assembly line laborers. Another thing the arrangement calls for is expanded wages for Mexican specialists. Around 40% of those autos should be made by laborers acquiring at any rate $16.60 minutes, which, they call attention to, is 3 times more than Mexico's lowest pay permitted by law. A notice of the settled ascension will be sent to Congress on Friday. President Trump is for all intents and purposes sparkling. I get a kick out of the chance to consider this arrangement the United States-Mexico Trade Agreement. I believe it's a rich name, he said Monday, realizing that made the Canadians a little anxious in light of the fact that their name isn't on the arrangement. He additionally considered Canada a littler fragment contrasted and Mexico, who he alluded to as a huge exchanging accomplice. Media intellectuals rushed to pretend disarray. In any case, they stammer, Canada is a prevailing exporter of unrefined petroleum to the United States, insider investigator assembling guards. Indeed, that was at that point. It appears that since we have been accumulating oil for a long time we probably won't require the Canadian unrefined any longer. The U.S. presently has refining capacity that we haven't had for a considerable length of time and we can really begin consuming some household dead dinosaurs until the point that the oil showcase releases up once more. Under the Mexico Ascension 75% of autos will be required to be made with North American parts, and 70% of the steel, aluminum and glass used to make a vehicle should likewise begin in North America, manufacturing reports. As Washington Post saw back in January, Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto told a get-together of best ambassadors a week ago that Mexico obviously won't pay for Donald Trump's divider. His ancestor, previous President Vicente Fox, put it all the more obtusely, announcing, "Trump, when will you comprehend that I am not paying for that, profanity, divider?" In every practical sense, when Mexico surrendered to Trump's requests for a level playing field to exchange on, they should have specifically marked a profanity check.